Recording in progress.
All right. Let's go ahead and call tonight's board meeting of the Emerald Isle Board of Commissioners to order. Lindsay, if you'll do roll call.
Mayor Lagos.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hollins. Commissioner Brownlow.
Present.
Commissioner Plum.
Here.
Commissioner Sanderson.
Here.
Commissioner Wu.
Here.
We need a motion to approve Commissioner Holland's absence.
I'll make a motion to excuse Commissioner Holland.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Brownlow, if you will lead us in the opening prayer.
Bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you with gratitude for this community, for the people who call Emerald Isle home, and for those who visit and enjoy the blessings of this place. We ask for wisdom, patience, and discernment as we consider the matters before us tonight. Guide our words, our decisions, and our hearts so that we may serve with humility, fairness, and a spirit of unity. Please place a hedge of protection around our town staff, public safety personnel, volunteers, residents, businesses, and visitors. Strengthen those who serve our community each day, often quietly and without recognition. We also ask you to comfort and lift up all those who are facing illness, infirmity, grief, or hardship. Bring healing where healing is needed, peace where there is worry, and hope where hearts are heavy. May we be good stewards of these resources, people, natural beauty entrusted to us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
If we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now it's time for public comments. Lindsay?
Irv Montalva.
Good evening, Irv.
God bless America. As we celebrate our 250th anniversary, I'm just so proud to be an American. Unfortunately, on the first week of May this year, just a few days ago, hundreds of demonstrators all over America, some 600 of them in different locations, all attacking the United States, our value systems, our way of government. In fact, it is a scary condition that we have in this country where the radical left has become a true menace to our republic. We have to be prepared to fight back as necessary, depending on how things fall forward. We have to maintain that our nation under God is indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My faith in the principles of what this country was founded on, the Judeo-Christian value system, has to continue not only 251 years, but 250 more years. So I'm just willing to say to you that I'm proud to stand here tonight and elevate my voice to the Lord above. And if you want to join me, that's fine. But I'm going to sing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above, from the mountains, through the prairies, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I can't do it. So, God bless everybody here.
Thank you, Herb.
Thank you. Lindsay, is there anyone else?
Mark Brennan Schultz.
I couldn't carry a tune if it were in a bucket.
I couldn't either, Mark.
I apologize for that. Wanted to, again, talk about my objections to the tax rate increase. Just a little background on it. The population of Emerald Isle residents has grown about 10% in the last 25 years. The number of visitors has grown approximately 25% in the last 25 years, going back to the land use plan of 2003. There's really no big growth in the town expected. And so my question is, why are we building more fire and EMS locations, capital expenses for those? I called my insurance agent and she said the rates for homeowners and fire insurance are, they're best if the facilities are within, if the residents within 5 miles of a station. From Station 1 to the end of Coast Guard Road is about 4.5 miles. So nobody is particularly going to benefit from a personal homeowner's insurance basis. Plus the new facilities are also, it's one thing to spend capital on them, which is a one-time fee, but we're going to have, they're going to require more equipment, and they're going to require more personnel, and that will be ongoing expenses. And I question what the benefit to the whole town is going to be. And so I'd like to ask the board to reconsider those expenses in doing the next year's budget, the capital expenses on those properties, because I'm not sure we're going to get a very good return from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Doug Willis.
Good evening, Commissioners. Doug Willis, 1113 Timber Trail. I want to talk about the budget again a little bit. I don't agree with the last gentleman on that. I don't even know if that's proper to say or not. You know, my opinion, fire emergency services, the quicker you get there as a fire chief for 33 years, the quicker you get there, the more lives you're going to save, without a doubt. So the 5-minute, yeah, that's black and white, but the quicker you get there, having additional resources that is an unbelievable asset for us. And I hope you continue with that. Now, where I do have a problem is this community has faced a Carteret County incredible tax rate hike, and Our food has gone up, our health care has gone up, our gas has gone up, our utilities has gone up. And now I see solid waste, you have to negotiate that, I understand that, but it's, the word modest increase, when you add it with everything else that we're having to pay for right now, is not modest. It's getting to be to the point where it's hurting people. I would like my elected officials to balance the budget on what's available revenue. And I think you guys do a pretty daggone good job of that. But I don't see the trolley as a free service benefits me whatsoever living on 13th Street, or 1211. I'll have to come and park somewhere. I don't understand why if somebody wants to take the trolley, they can't pay $2 or whatever it is, whatever you figure out as the body to provide that service. I'm not saying it's a bad service. I just say I don't think it meets the entire needs of the community where you're expending additional funding. When I was a department head, I balanced my budget to what the available funding we had. No ifs, ands, or buts. I didn't go back and say, where are we going to get this money from? So I guess what I'm asking from you is to balance the budget on what you have. I'm opposed to the trolley. I don't think it meets the requirements of being a benefit for everybody on Emerald Isle. Take that money and use it for something else. And I'll stop it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay. Thank you for everyone who spoke, and thank you, Irv, for this festive song. I think it livened up the night quite a bit. So moving on, Lindsay?
Any conflicts of interest, Mayor Lagos?
No.
Commissioner Brownlow?
No conflict.
Commissioner Plum?
No.
Commissioner Sanderson?
No conflict.
Commissioner Wooten?
No.
Okay, great. Now it's time to ask for a motion for the adoption of the agenda as written.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Frank?
Yeah, good evening, Mayor Lagos, Commissioners. Chris Parker, could you come on up to the podium, please? I am extremely pleased to introduce to the board and to the community our new fire chief, Christopher Parker. Chris started work with us last Monday on June the 1st. He was appointed after multiple interviews with experienced fire chiefs, with our department head team, by the employees of the fire department and by myself. And really, really pleased to have someone of Chris's caliber and demeanor here working in Emerald Isle. Chris has 21 years of service in the fire service in various roles. He came to us from the Cary Fire Department, obviously a much larger community, much larger department, where he served as the assistant fire chief in Cary. So really pleased to have someone with his experience and depth of knowledge coming to help us here in Emerald Isle. He is originally born and raised in Knightdale, North Carolina. He also served in a volunteer capacity with the fire department in Knightdale as well. So Chris has been in the fire service for significantly more than half of his life. He actually started out in the 8th grade in the Explorer program. And I won't tell you how old he is right now, but he's less than 40. So he's been doing it quite a long time, and I think that speaks volumes about his commitment to the fire service and to public service. He's married with 2 children. They're excited to be here in Emerald Isle. They've rented a place temporarily and looking to build a house in Carteret County sometime in the next year or so. Chris is someone that I think can lead this department to higher levels and for a long period of time. Really, really pleased with everything about Chris, but I think especially so with his public service mindset, with his demeanor, with his tone, and the spirit that he brings to the position. So welcome, Chris Parker. Really glad to have you here.
Okay, so for the public announcements tonight, There were the events rolling through as everyone was settling in, but there are a few I just want to point out that are just getting started for the summer. We have Emerald Fest on Thursday nights at the Western Beach Access. We have the 3-day America 250 events that are happening that are going to be amazing and a first time for Emerald Isle, so that's really exciting. So please come out, all of us. And then the other one is also that the county is having a 250-year celebration as well at the Civic Center, and they're actually doing their celebration on June 20th. And so it'll be a day-long event, lots of educational opportunities for children and adults alike. So if you have a moment, come out and support the county on that level. Yep, and then we also want to make a public announcement, and also mention to everybody, and thank you for your time, but Mark Salato has offered his resignation. And we want to thank him for his guidance, professionalism, and steady support. You have been appreciated by this board and our staff. We are grateful for the time and care that you have given to our town, and we will miss working with you. Okay, we are excited as you move into your next opportunity. And then, yeah.
Thank you.
And Frank, if you would like to present him with our small token of appreciation, we wanted to send you off as a little Emerald Isle swag. So no matter where you go with this new chapter, because you didn't really announce it, you'll have a reminder of our town and our gratitude.
So Mark, we've got just several token gifts here so that you don't forget us in Emerald Isle. And I just want to echo the comments of the mayor. It's been a pleasure to work with Mark over the last year, and certainly wish him well as he steps into a private sector role with a legal tech company. So Mark, thank you so much.
Okay, so we're on agenda item 11 now. Are we ready to approve the consent agenda? Has everybody had a moment to review it?
So moved.
All right, Commissioner Sanderson offered the motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now the main event, well, the second main event tonight. We're going to have the special presentation for the retiring police chief this evening. Mr. Steve Parsons, if you will please join us. And Chief Edwards also at the podium. Take him in the front of the room. We want at the podium. How do you feel about it?
Come on out here, wherever you'd like.
Yeah?
Also want to recognize Mike's brother, Phil Panzarella, as well. And Chief, if you can come on up, please.
Should we stand at the podium? How do you feel? Want me at the podium?
Yeah, please.
Yeah? Should we turn it so he can be presenting to the crowd?
That's fine, sure.
The way everybody can hear me, I've got a little bit of a raspy voice. I apologize. My name is Steve Parsons. I'm a Rotarian that volunteered and supported the RILA, the Rotary Youth Leader Award program that Phil has run for about 30 years, and Mike has supported for about 20 of them. And I just wanted to recognize him on his retirement with the Paul Harris Fellow, which is about the highest, almost the highest Rotary International award that you can provide to a Rotarian for their service. He served the community, and RILA here at Pine Knoll Shores is a true jewel for this place. It's the first thing I knew. Then I learned you had an aquarium too, and a lot of other really good things too. But Mike has always has always been an exceptional leader with a servant heart that contributes to the development of the young leaders that come to RILA, which is high school sophomores and juniors. And he provided security and enablement for these young leaders as they prepare to become leaders in their high schools. So it's really a great program where leaders in a high school probably have come through RILA. They go back and convince the leaders from the next year to come to RILA, and they're equipped for service in their schools as the leaders in the programs. Mike provided security and other, logistical services there. Year after year, he worked behind the scenes. Phil was exactly right. He always puts others before him. He serves service above self, the Rotary motto. Mike enabled a safe environment where young leaders could learn, grow, develop their skills without distraction. What's near and dear to my heart is he walked the grounds at night so that others like me could sleep. And that was a significant thing and made a big impact on everybody. Your service to others is consistently exceptional. It's the intersection of service above all and protect and serve. You provided us with the security, the surety, and the parents. I know we're appreciative to know that you were a part of our program. On behalf of the Rotarians that have worked with you in service through the years, thank you for your friendship, thank you for your support, and for your many years of dedicated service. Now it's my honor to award you the Paul Harris Fellow. Again, a distinguished honor that's either given to people who have made large donations or have had a consistent, persistent, and major impact through their leadership and service. And that is certainly true for Mike. So congratulations.
Chief, you hang around just a second. Got a couple of things to give you here. I have a resolution to provide Chief Panzarella with his service weapon and badge so he can keep those as he leaves Emerald Isle. This is a symbol of your years of service. Just want to thank you for your leadership, for your commitment to this department, for your community service. I don't know how many pancakes you've cooked, how many barbecue sandwiches, but it's been a lot. Congratulations on your retirement and best wishes on the next chapter.
Chief, you're not done just yet. Stay right there. Frank, will you join me over there?
Absolutely.
This first plaque? Well, messing up what I was going to say.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
you present this one.
All right, fair enough.
I can't think on my feet that fast today.
Just one of many gifts for you here tonight, Chief. Just want to present you with this plaque, and I'll read it briefly to the audience here. The Town of Emerald Isle proudly presents this certificate of appreciation and gratitude to Police Chief Michael A. Panzarella in recognition of your outstanding service to the Town of Emerald Isle, embodying our values of integrity, commitment, and service, and for exemplifying steadfast dedication and loyalty. You made a difference in Emerald Isle. We wish you success and happiness in your future retirement. On behalf of the mayor, board, staff, and citizens of the town, June 9th, 2026. So just want to thank you again for your service to our community and really to all of Carteret County, and just wish you the very best going forward. Thank you so much.
It is my honor tonight to present Chief Panzarella with the Order of the Longleaf Pine, one of the highest honors awarded by the state of North Carolina. It is a fitting recognition for his decades of service, his steady leadership, and the difference he has made in so many lives. Chief, we are grateful for your service, and we wish you the best in your retirement.
You want to make a few remarks?
I wasn't signed at you by anyone.
We've also got another gift for you here too. I'll just hand that to you.
I'm going to try to get through this. For those of you all that were here for the reception at 5 o'clock, you heard my brother speak and say some awful kind words. And those after have spoke and said some awfully kind words. You know, we come from a family that has never sought out recognition. And, you know, we did what we had to do and never looked back. And so I am grateful for all the kind words, for all the gifts, for all the recognition. If you'll please bear with me, I'll try to get through this. Again, I may get choked up. It will not be as good as Phil's, so Phil, I apologize. Steve, probably won't be as good as yours, so I apologize for that too. Mayor, commissioners, town manager, members of the Emerald Isle Police Department, fellow town employees, family, friends, and members of the community. Before I begin, I would like to share that throughout my career, my law enforcement career, I've worked for 3 municipalities and 1 county government. Each agency played an important role in shaping me as a professional and as a person. My time with the town of Emerald Isle has been especially meaningful. Emerald Isle has had the greatest impact on my career, both professionally and personally. And it is a community that will always be held near and dear to my heart. Tonight, I have the privilege of expressing my gratitude as I conclude my career in law enforcement and soon retire as Chief of Police. Serving this profession and this community has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Looking back, I'm grateful for the opportunities I have been given, the lessons I have learned, and the people I've met along the way. Most importantly, I want to thank my family. No one serves in law enforcement alone. Behind every officer is a family that shares and sacrifices. They endured missed holidays, interrupted family gatherings, late-night phone calls, and the uncertainty that comes with the profession. My family has provided me with unwavering love, patience, encouragement, and strength throughout my career. Their support made it possible for me to answer the call of service to others. And for that, I'm forever grateful. To my family, thank you for standing beside me through every challenge and every success. Your belief in me never wavered, and your sacrifices often went unseen by others. Thank you for your understanding, your pride, most importantly, your love and success. Any success I've achieved belongs as much to you as it does to me. To our mayor, board of commissioners, town manager, and fellow town employees, thank you for your trust, your partnership, and support. Together, we've worked to make Emerald Isle a safe and welcoming community, and I appreciate the opportunity to have served alongside you. To the residents, business owners, and visitors of Emerald Isle, thank you for allowing me and our department to serve you. Your trust has always been our most valuable asset. It has been a privilege to work in a community that values public service and supports our first responders. As I retire, I do so with a sense of pride, not in individual accomplishments, but in what we've achieved together. I leave knowing that the Emerald Isle Police Department is staffed by exceptional professionals who will continue serving this community with honor, integrity, and dedication.
As I stand before you, I'm not without fault. Some of my folks that stand to the left of me will admit they are not without fault. But please allow me to share with you just a few accomplishments our department has achieved over the last 5 to 6 years. We navigated through the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic while maintaining safety and essential services. We have streamlined things in the police department by implementing online permitting applications, online report requests, and you can even pay a civil citation now online. We upgraded our fingerprint machine. The fingerprint machine was purchased several years ago, and it was in lieu of some much-needed maintenance. Most importantly, it allowed accessibility and support for area law enforcement agencies. We have been able to replace our current duty weapons and provide a department-issued patrol rifle for each officer. We've established a partnership with federal law enforcement in the 1033 program with the Law Enforcement Support Operations, which allows us to partner with the federal government and obtain surplus equipment, which will enhance our operational capabilities and while reducing cost. We also partnered with NCIS and the NC Links. It's another tool that allows our officers free of charge to further their investigations and information sharing. We worked really hard in partnership with the Governor's Highway Safety Program, so much that we have put thermal printers in every one of our patrol cars. Eventually, we hope to deploy radar units in every patrol car, all of this with no cost to our taxpayers. We implemented where we follow the school buses every morning as they complete their routes throughout the town of Emerald Isle. It has significantly, not only have we significantly increased our enforcement and awareness, but we've reduced the stop arm violations. We established a bicycle patrol, thankfully, by the assistance of the federal government. And we have, I believe, two certified IPEMBA bike patrol officers. We continue to strengthen and foster positive relationships with town departments, residents, visitors, business owners, and community organizations, and our regional law enforcement partners. I'm extremely proud of the relationship we have interdepartmentally within the town of Emerald Isle. That's not rang all day, and I am so sorry. So I am really sorry. All right, well, I can't get it turned on. But also the relationships we've built with the community. We've maintained open and productive lines of communication with our Neighborhood Watch program, promoting community collaboration along with crime prevention. What in the world? I promise you, this thing's not ringing all day. I've gotten calls and texts, and it's not come through, and I don't know why it started now. So we've increased community participation and engagement through Coffee with a Cop. When COVID set in, it handed us some real restrictions. Obviously, with the governor's mandate, restaurants and things like that, we decided to move it here to the commissioner's boardroom. And in my humble opinion, we have more than doubled our attendance. We've expanded community outreach by introducing an evening program called Chatting with a Cop, providing additional opportunities for citizen interaction. We've partnered with Parks and Rec, where we go and we read to the preschoolers to promote literacy and positive interactions between law enforcement officers and young people. we created the Emerald Isle Car Show, and with the partnership of Trans Impact, we were able to expand our Shop with a Cop, which has benefited local children and families during Christmas time. We've enhanced the department's charitable and community service efforts through participating in Stuff the Cruiser, Stuff the Precinct, and Special Olympic fundraising initiatives. Lastly, again, this is not me, this is us. Our team worked extremely hard, and I am proud to stand before you today and say we successfully achieved the North Carolina State Accreditation, demonstrating the department's commitment to professional excellence, accountability, and best practices in law enforcement. To the members of the Emerald Isle Police Department, I leave you with this. Never forget the badge. Never forget that the badge represents service, not authority. Treat people with dignity, respect, support one another. Always do the right thing even when no one's watching. Continue to earn the trust daily of those in our community and those we serve. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to serve this community and this profession. It has been an incredible journey. I will always be grateful for the friendships, experiences, and memories that have come with it. May God bless each of you, the Emerald Isle Police Department, and the town of Emerald Isle. Thank you.
Thank you again, Chief. Have a great evening. So now back to business. Lindsay, well, next on the agenda, we will have a presentation from the gentleman from Point Effects who led our classification and compensation study. Lindsay.
Tough one to follow. Tonight, Peter will present the recently completed classification and compensation study, and the board will formally consider the recommendation new salary ranges for the town either at the July 14th or August 11th meeting. The Pontifex study compares the town's current salary ranges with various other private sector and local government employers, including 15 other local governments in Carteret County and along the coastal NC. Pontifex also provided updated job descriptions. Overall, the town's salaries are approximately 6 to 13% lower than the current market, and the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget includes a total of $100,000 to implement the new salary ranges in the Pontifex study, and below market employee salaries would begin to be adjusted later this summer. So a little bit of background on this process. In January, we reached out to 14 consulting firms with the scope of work we were interested in to determine whether they could complete the study, what the associated cost would be, and what timelines they would offer. During our January 30th budget meeting, we presented our findings to the commissioners and received approval to move forward with Pontifex. On February 24th, Peter came and met with all department heads and employees to explain the purpose of the study and how the process would work. Throughout March, each full-time employee completed a position description questionnaire to help ensure that the updated job descriptions accurately encompass the full scope of their responsibilities. Over the next several weeks, Pontifex researched comparable towns and jurisdictions to evaluate salaries and benefits. Once the initial draft of the study was presented, we met with Peter several times to review the findings and finalize the report. So Pontifex consultant Peter Ronza, he'll be presenting tonight, has over 40 years of consulting experience. He's served as a professor in both graduate and undergraduate programs within the Human Resources and Industrial Relations Department at the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota, and he also holds a master's degree in Human Resources and Industrial Relations from the University of Minnesota. So Peter will be joining us remotely this evening and will present the findings of this study. And the full salary study can be found in your packets and also online for the public to view.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Good evening. Oh, Lindsay, you're going to turn my slides. Thanks. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to present to you tonight. I'm not going to be as good as the chief, but we're going to give her a shot. So, Lindsay, would you go to the next slide, please? And so the second one, thank you. So as Lindsay described for you, we answered the request for proposals. We're fortunate enough to receive the contract. We've been around for a while as consulting practice and also as practitioners and consultants. Recently, we've been in 4 North Carolina counties. Actually, I wrapped up Rowan County about 2 or 3 weeks ago in time for their budget submittal. And our main emphasis is providing customized solutions to the different organizations based on their needs and resources and culture. Next slide, please. You know, just to give you an idea what the comp system is about, it really, all a comp system does for a living is it attracts and retains. It makes sure that you can attract the labor that you require and that you can keep them from being kidnapped from other agencies. And you're in a predicament because you're a service organization and you need qualified people to perform the different tasks that the city provides as services to its public. In that not only is attracting and retaining labor of a special criticality to you, but also it forms, as is natural, the largest portion of your fixed cost of your budget. And really, a comp system is 3 pieces, which we walk through, and I'll walk you through this, how we also explain this to your staff when we were on site. That internal equity, the first box, that's every organization has an internal structure, an internal hierarchy and classifying of jobs. That's based on job descriptions, and as Lindsay had explained to you, we came down, we were asked by the town, hey, you know, our job descriptions may be out of date, not reflecting what's going on here at the town. So we sat down, presented to the employees and had them fill out questionnaires so we could see what work is currently being performed at the town so that we can form up-to-date legally compliant and logical job descriptions. Once we have that, we know what work is being performed at the town, then we link that with the other part of the system, which is what is the market value in your different labor markets that you compete in. I'll talk about that in a little bit for this labor, again, to attract and retain. That skill set that you described that you are utilizing in your organization. And the third box, process equity, it's not the sexiest one, but it's very important. And that is maintaining the plan and ensuring that the plan continues to serve its purpose of attracting and retaining, because all comp plans are living beasts, because your internal and your external structures will exert pressure. They will change. They will cause issues that you as an organization have to address to enable yourself to be in that sweet spot that you can compete with the other organizations to attract and retain labor. And this is especially of importance when we submitted our proposal to you and our contract to you. We also give the town of Emerald Isle a minimum of 1 year of free assistance, because it is very important that you're able to administer that plan with the inevitable issues, with the inevitable pressures that are come up, to make sure that it continues to do its job. So those are 3 of what forms a comp system. If you can go to the next page, please. as Lindsay stole pretty much half of my presentation. As she said, we were tasked with coming up with job descriptions, coming up with an internal structure that reflects the reality of your jobs that are performing the duties for you, to make sure that there are career paths where evident, that there is separation and definition of the different roles, that external competitiveness, the benchmarking, the process equity, a means to update and maintain that plan. And then, as is standard, we go ahead once we have done the job descriptions, and we ensure that you have Fair Labor Standards Act compliance testing. Basically, the Fair Labor Standards Act addresses quite a few issues, but one of them in this instance is the definition of jobs that are eligible for overtime and those jobs that can be exempted from the overtime provisions. We give you the audit sheets. So if for any reason an auditor, because it's beautiful in Emerald Isle, and they come back and go to the coffee shop, decide to see if they can find an error there, you will have all your sheets, all your audits locked and loaded so that everybody is happy that you're complying with the law. Next page. As Lindsay also described, we were down there. We showed, walked the employees and the supervisors through the questionnaires. The most effective way to find out what work is being performed is to get the folks that are performing the work and then the supervisors who assign the work. Every job is composed of those two people, the one who does the work and the one who assigns the work, so that we could make sure that we have all the input we need to be able to compose those job descriptions. Where we had questions or issues, et cetera, we would go back to the parties at hand and make sure we resolved that. We gave the town draft job descriptions that, and the job description, let me explain, is a very foundational document because it's used for a lot of functions in human resources. It's used for recruitment, it's used for development, it's used for performance management, it's used for, what we used it for, which is benchmarking and marking to the market, used for a lot of purposes. So now you got nice, solid, up-to-date job descriptions. And as I'd mentioned previously, the FLSA testing based on those updated descriptions. You can go to the next slide. Once you have those descriptions and you have that internal equity, then you construct a job structure for your jobs that has equity built into it, that explains why there is separation and difference between jobs based on knowledge, skills, requirements, education, experience, certifications, et cetera. And that is that bottom part of the slide you see. Those are all the elements of a standard job description. And then working in physical conditions are important because not only is that regulated to make sure that employers articulate if there are working in physical conditions that are germane to the job so that individuals who may need an accommodation or an adjustment can have a conversation with you. But the focus of the study all along is jobs, not people. And that's hard. And we explain this to employees. The hardest thing you can do is sit here in a questionnaire and tell me about your job. I mean, nobody does that. And so we have to look at these things antiseptically as if, for example, Lindsay won Powerball and left, and I had to replace Lindsay. That job description should give me everything I need to know to be able to cast my net on the ocean of applicants and find a group of people that I can interview, and then someone who can be able to do the job based on the traits of the job, not the traits of Lindsay. So emphasizing this whole process is based on jobs and not people. Next slide, please. Labor market analysis, as I pointed out, attraction and retention, that's the emphasis. So when we go out to your different labor markets, and you do have different labor markets, there are some jobs where you will compete in the private and public. There are some where you will compete in the public sector. So we have to make sure that we can find out what the minimum and maximum value is for the skill sets that you employ at your town so that you can get in that sweet spot of being within a margin of error of your competition. Then it is incumbent upon you to use your branding and say, compensation is not an issue for you either to come work here or to stay working here. Let me explain to you why the town of Emerald Isle is the place you want to be, why the environment is good, the benefits, the scope of the job, et cetera. So that is what this process is trying to get to align you to the market so that compensation is negated as an impediment to attracting or retaining the talent that you need to provide the services to the public that you're required to do. So, and as I mentioned before, also important from a fiscal perspective, whether you're private or public, it doesn't matter. I have private sector clients. Nobody has all the money that they need, but they need to make sure that the money is getting them the most bang for the buck and retaining those skilled people and retaining the folks that can get the work done. And then the ultimate consumer is satisfied that they are getting what it is they're requiring of your organization. Next slide, please. In labor market two, we're looking at positions, not people. In the report, you'll see the list of organizations. Organizations that you compete with are based on a variety of reasons. One of the biggest one is geographic location. You know, if people don't have to sell their house and they don't have to move their kids out of school, proximate competitors become primary competitors, but there's all kinds of different factors that go into who your competitors are. As I said before, we're looking at jobs, not people. Once we identify what the minimum and maximum value is for a job, then you, the town, inject the actual employee into that range based on a variety of factors: experience, longevity, knowledge, education, certifications, productivity, performance, etc. But we have to compose what is that minimum and maximum value. And that last bullet point down there is incredibly important and always has been, and that is supply and demand. And sometimes clients will get upset because a certain job pays at a certain level, and that is not to their liking, either one way or the other. And the issue with the job market is, no offense, it doesn't care who you are. If the town were to come to me and say, Pete, the town council has said we're going to start a zoo and I need to hire a zookeeper and here's the job description, then I'm going to go out there and find out in your competitive market what is the minimum and maximum value for a zookeeper. And that's what the market's going to tell me. And so, you know, I have to then decide, is that acceptable for what I'm trying to achieve to provide service to the public? Or maybe I don't have the resources, or that's not in my plan, and maybe I have to contract that out for now. But supply and demand is a huge impact, and that is why, again, maintenance of the system is critical, because as the labor market itself, which has been kind of flat lately, which is weird, it's like hovering at around 3.4 overall 12 months. And specific skill sets. I do a lot of healthcare, and we're really seeing some volatility there. And so if you want to find the right person, you have to know what the price is for that skill set. Next slide, please. And just to give you some, I put this in the report, but I like to see, this is kind of like the thermometer outside the window. So, you know, to look out and see, well, how is the market reacting? And I gave you two different economic indicators. There are a lot of people, and this derives from the 80s, who like to benchmark their labor costs based on the CPI. And I'm old enough, I remember the late 80s when we had double-digit inflation and we had no choice but to chase it. But CPI, bear in mind, is an indicator of the cost of goods, not the cost of labor. Now, I still have to take my salary and go fill up the gas tank, go to the grocery store, pay the rent, and do things of that nature. It's not degrading it, but just to say, cost of living is different from cost of labor. And both of these statistics come from the U.S. Department of Labor. So you can see also that it trends differently. We actually did a study going back 40 years and found that on average, if you look at all 40 years, ECI outpaces CPI by 1%. But you don't have to hire a consultant future years, and this will make your finance director incredibly happy, in that as you put your budget together and you want to find out, gee, I wonder how much the market is moving, and then how much do we have in fiscal resources, you just can go to this figure for free and you can look at it and it can give you an idea. But I want to point it out because it's always important to look out the window and see what the temperature is, especially in your biggest fixed cost. So just showing that to you. Next slide, please. And so as Lindsay had articulated in her intro, as an aggregate, the town position on the minimum rate is at -6 and on the maximum rate is 12.9. That's as an aggregate as the organization. And so we'll talk about a little bit how we provided recommendations on how the town can adjust its pay scales to bring it again to that sweet spot to where it can compete successfully in the market and negate any ill effects of being at a undesirable spot in the labor market. Next slide, please. And that's what look at that. And so one thing that, and when we were having conversations with Frank is that, you did have a system that had been placed for a while and did not really have a rubric to job evaluation or methodology. We provided that to the town. And something that if, again, you had to hire that zookeeper, you'd be able to use the same process to be able to slot it in internally and then match that with its external value. We provided recommendations to the town, which they will discuss to you in a future town council meeting as to the job classifications, families, and again, that separation that maintains the existing work that is being performed at your town. And that last bullet, using that, respecting your internal equity, but also making sure that there is no compression. And compression is the cancer that kills compensation systems, especially in rank-based systems. Manager, supervisor, lead worker, et cetera. You want to make sure that you have that separation so that you do not discourage progression, but also that you do not lose linkage with how those ranks or those progressions are in the market. And that will also help in future benchmarking as you do tune-ups. We just did a tune-up for Harnett County earlier this year before their budget. You can look out and see where you are, do a little fine-tuning, and then you're off to the races for the next years. So next slide is, and the process equity, as we said, a method to be able to monitor the markets, avoid compression, ensure that internal equity and external alignment, legal compliance, and adherence to your compensation philosophy and strategy. And as I said, we'll be around for a minimum of a year. So if Lindsay or Frank or anyone, they know where I live, which is not meant in a scary way, sorry, that they can reach out to us. There's no meter running. We're more than happy to help them like we do all our clients and assist them with maintaining the system and keeping it aligned, keeping it viable, and keeping it relevant. So I think the last slide is questions. So I will be quiet and I am at your mercy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Peter. Board, would you like to open it up for questions?
He said something significant like about compression being the killer. How are we going to prevent compression?
So the internal structure that we recommended will ensure that there's proper separation, both mathematically and loosely tied to the market, so that you don't have, I use the word ranks, but levels of a profession. So let's say I had a full series of finance jobs, from an entry-level finance person to a lead, to a professional, to a supervisor, to a manager, to a director. If I had all of those, I make sure that those are incorporated in your system and also separated mathematically so that from a compensation perspective, as well as from an internal hierarchy perspective, they will not collide. The killer comes with, and we usually, where this may occur is if one group moves at a different rate. And the easiest way to explain that is if I have a client who has the one group that is a member of a collective bargaining unit, and then the group above it, you can call it command, you can call it management, you can call it supervision, is not. Sometimes what happens is those two groups move at different rates. And if the top group is not at least moving at the same rate as the bottom group and they start compressing, you run into a variety of issues. The simplest being, Frank's my captain and I have an assistant chief opening up. And Frank looks at me and says, look, I love you to death and I'd love to be an assistant chief, but I'd have to take a pay cut because what your compensation system looks like. So compression is something that's easy to solve if you maintain the system, but it can be deadly if those groups do not align, and also levels within a group. We also have to look at that to make sure they are properly spaced so that they reflect the responsibilities, duties, knowledge, skills, etc., and that those are linked to the market where the market will have its own separation.
How would you characterize the annual self-service maintenance of this plan? Say we adopt it, what's the time and effort and frequency for going out and checking different indices or monitoring the things that you just described to avoid things like compression? I very much agree with you that can be a great pitfall. But how do you see the care and feeding that we need to do in-house to maintain a plan like this?
Yeah, and thanks for using that. I'm gonna co-opt that, care and feeding. I like it. There's really not a lot of, I do emphasize it, and I mean that on purpose, but really the maintenance of it is not very time consuming. It usually occurs in a couple situations. A job changes. So again, Lindsay, forgive me, Lindsay leaves. And you decide, you know what? Now that Lindsay's left, and I love her to death, but I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to reformat that job. And because I've always wanted to do this, that, and the other, but she was great in that. But now I have some other needs. I have some other things I want to do to it. If you change the job, it's time to re-examine the job to see, is it the same job or is it a different job? Is it substantially changed or not? Or those changes minor? If they're substantial, then you may have to look at the grading system, number one, to see if it should be graded differently. And number two, see if that also affects how you market matched it. Those in an organization your size are not going to happen that often. If you have a new job, obviously you go through the same process and slot it, but the structure is already there and already explained, so it should be pretty simple to put that in there. The only other time you're going to do any maintenance, and you mentioned about going out and benchmarking, I usually tell clients, you don't, and pardon me, but it's just my language, you don't really need to do tune-up except for every 3 years or so, to like Harnett County. The beauty of public sectors, I can mention them, and I know they don't mind, is that every once in a while you want to go up and tune up. They did it 3 years ago. They tuned up just to see if they were okay, made a couple of minor tweaks, and they're off to the races. So really, there's not a lot of expenditure money. Bear in mind, as I said, at least for 12 months, if not more, I'm there. So if Frank or Lindsay or anybody has something that happens, they reach out to me, boom, boom, it gets done. It's not going to cost you anything. And then they start to learn, as we've already had discussions, how my methodology is, what my logic is, how I explain all that, and how they can do that in the future. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So will this be a phased implementation plan with recurring cost, or?
Yeah, if I could, let me tackle that question for you. So as indicated in the written materials, we have a total of 16 employees that after we implement the cost of living increase and some other adjustments in the budget, they would not be at the minimum recommendation that's included on pages 25 to 28 of the study. So pages 25 to 28 of the study, those are the proposed salary ranges for our organization. We are specifically not asking you to adopt those tonight. We wanted to give you the presentation on the study, let you digest that. We'll probably bring that back to you at your July 14th meeting, ask you to adopt those ranges. If the board adopts those ranges on July 14th or some other date, there are 16 employees that we project would not be at the minimum indicated in those ranges. So our recommendation is to move those 16 employees up to the minimums in the new salary ranges. That would cost us about $62,000. And as we've discussed, and as you'll hear a little bit more in the next item, we've got $100,000 budgeted for market adjustments based on the Pontifex study. So $62,000 to move those 16 employees up to the minimum. We would take the remaining $38,000, work with the department heads, and start to address people who are within the ranges that are recommended, but that have been with the town for several years, and really take a case-by-case look at every single employee in every single department and slot them at the right place within the range based on their experience, based on their qualifications, so that we're treating those folks fairly so that we can retain those employees going forward. That $38,000 isn't going to get the whole job done, but it's a good start. And it would enable us, I think my focus would primarily be on police and fire. My expectation is that we'll continue to work with you throughout fiscal 26-27 and then into fiscal 27-28 to identify additional funding to make additional adjustments. So we're recommending a phased approach here based on the money that we have in the budget. So this is basically phase one.
Okay, so that's when we're going to factor in the longevity pay, certification, health insurance.
Yeah, so those will certainly be things that we'll consider. When we get to the point of looking at folks who are already within the recommended range, we're going to look at their experience, we're going to look at their qualifications, we're going to look at their education, we're going to slot them in at the right place. So the other thing, as I noted in the written materials, that you should recognize, and this is a positive for the town of Emerald Isle. So one of the things Peter took a look at was our longevity program, as well as the benefits that we offer. We offer a very generous longevity program. So our employees, depending on how long they've been with the town, can secure it anywhere from 1% to 5% of their salary in an additional payment. That longevity payment's not reflected in any of the data that Peter showed you, but he did a comparison with other employers, and we're generally more generous in that regard. So that's an important caveat for you to keep in mind. So when you see that we're 6 to 13% roughly below market, you got to keep in mind some other things. So there's 1% to 5% there, depending on how long the person's been with the town. We have a really good health insurance program, thankfully, and thank you for supporting that currently and in the past. We also, within our fire department, there are several other additional salary amounts that are provided based on qualifications and other skill sets that also aren't reflected in here. So I tell you that because I just want you to know that it says we're 6 to 13% below market, and I trust Peter's numbers. I think it's accurate. I think he did some really very good comparisons. We're probably a little better than that shows. Having said all that, what we're proposing is the first phase of implementation, move the people up to the minimum, and then start one by one looking at each department, each employee going forward. And we're going to consider all of those things. We're going to look at what folks in the police and fire department are making from these additional certifications. That's going to play a part in where we slot them within the range, in addition to experience, education, all of those kind of things. And we'll do that in every single department.
And will the board get to see that fire pay analysis certification before we, the final salary approval?
Well, I've included in your packet tonight a copy of that additional compensation plan. We have a police officer career advancement plan. We have a fire department career advancement plan. And part of that fire department plan includes all those additional amounts that they receive. So that's all included. I'll be happy to show the final results with you after we go through the analysis. The easy part, honestly, is moving people up to the minimum. That's pretty straightforward. The harder part is going to be going through. It'll be myself, it'll be Lindsay Burton, it'll be Laura Rochford, our finance director, as well as the individual department head taking a look at every single position. That's going to take some time. We'll do that later this summer if the board ultimately adopts the new ranges.
Frank, I agree that we need to do this in phases. We keep going back to the minimum, bringing employees up to the minimum. That's not what we're seeing around us with hiring trends, and that's happened right here with us. We've hired people in the middle versus the minimum to get the qualified people that we needed. So I think that we need to look at that competition and where these folks are starting now. I know 2 hires in 2 adjoining towns who recently started just above the mid-range of those salaries. And we've got to keep those things in mind as well, particularly for those we're trying to retain.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you 100%. And that will be the strategy. That is the strategy now. Matter of fact, I signed off on a conditional offer for a police officer earlier this morning. We're bringing that person in at a higher level because of their experience and so forth. So that is happening. That will continue to happen. But more importantly, for the existing people who are working here and have dedicated their lives to this community, we need to make sure we get them in the right spot within that range, because Peter talked about compression when it comes to the positions and different supervisory responsibilities or different particular tasks that they're responsible for. We've also got some compression issues going on with people who've been here for a long time, not making that much more than folks who have only been here for maybe a very short period of time. So that's what I expect that phase 2 analysis is going to do, to try to address that concern. So
Thank you.
Yeah, the part I think that hit hardest for me is when I saw that we've been using the same compensation structure for 20 years. Imagine if you were using the same computer that was 20 years old. You know, I was 45 then. Might have been Gateway Computers or something then.
Yeah, I think, so certainly 20 years, it's time to do a new one. I'm glad that we moved forward with this this year. I would say Peter may differ with me, perhaps Lindsay would as well, but I think you probably want to go through an exercise like this at least once every 10 years. But I want to also let you know that throughout each year, I mean, we're adjusting the pay plan every single year based on the cost of living increase. So it's not the same numbers that we had in 2006, I believe, when the initial plan was done. So that pay plan gets adjusted each year. There are occasionally adjustments for a particular position that moves into a different range, depending on what the market conditions are, other factors within the organization. And then there are also situations where we're looking at other data that's available to us. There's some great resources that come from the North Carolina League of Municipalities. We're always looking at that when we're making these decisions. So I don't want you to think that nothing happens or nothing has happened in the last 20 years, because a lot has happened and will continue to happen. But it's really, I think, productive and helpful to go through this comprehensive analysis with someone like Pontifex.
I know I can't wear the same pants I did 20 years ago. You know, that we outgrow things, and I'm glad we're doing this now, because we got some good employees, and I'd like to be able to keep them. So.
I appreciate the comprehensive analysis. This was very eye-opening. We need to do better. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, and I feel confident that we're on the right path and we have the right direction. So good job.
Very good. Yeah, and you know, as I mentioned, and we'll talk about in a little bit, I mean, there's significant investment in our employees in the recommended budget that you'll consider here in just a few minutes. Good first start, I think.
Wonderful conversation. So I think that's it, Peter. Does anyone have any more questions for Peter?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time this evening, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
Thank you.
So what I would recommend to you is just take the next 3-4 weeks or so, digest the report. At the moment, we plan to come back to you at the July 14th meeting, ask you to approve those ranges. Certainly, if you have other questions or comments along the way, just reach out, and we'll bring it back to you on the 14th.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Frank, thank you, the staff and all, and Laura and everybody for working on that too. That's, it was eye-opening. Thank you for that.
Okay, great. So now we're moving on to agenda item number 14, which is the budget for 2026, 2027 fiscal year. So first, we'll need a motion to go into public hearing.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Lindsay, have we had anyone sign up?
No comments.
Okay, so may I ask for a motion to close public hearing? Oh, hold on. Is there anyone out there that would like to say anything that forgot to sign up or missed the sign-up sheet? Okay. Motion to close public hearing?
Close.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Laura, would you like to take it over?
Yes, thank you. So tonight, we will go ahead and formally ask the board to adopt the budget ordinance. We have the fee schedule included tonight, and then the 5-year capital replacement and improvement plan. The recommended budget was presented in detail back at the May board meeting, and a full copy of the recommended budget is on our website, and also we always have a hard copy in the administration department if anybody wants to look over the details. The board, Sorry, thanks, guys. Appreciate the lookup. The board did meet again on May the 19th for the budget, at our budget workshop, and we dove into a little bit more detail on the budget, and the board did provide town staff with some feedback. So some of the big highlights, the general fund is recommended at just over $15.6 million. Our future beach nourishment fund is recommended at just over $973,000 for the annual budget. And also included in the annual budget process is the special events fund, which covers our marathon and car show, and that is recommended at $98,500. Important, the general fund budget does include a 0.5 cent tax rate increase from 10.5 cents to 11 cents. This tax rating increase was specifically proposed to cover staffing for 3 full-time firefighters, and also the debt service to pay for the 2-acre tract of land at Pebble Beach, which will be the future home for Fire Station 3. The Future Beach Nourishment Fund, the tax rate is set to remain the same at 2.2 cents, so no change there. Our 5-year capital improvement plan is pretty significant, and we do have very large projects to include a $28 million beach nourishment project, which is primarily funded by the County Beach Commission. Other big notable items in this budget, as we mentioned earlier, was we do have an increase to our solid waste fee. It's $25 annually. So that increase would go from $335 a year to $360 a year. We have some increases to our development fees. We added $25 for a development permit fee, and those funds will be set aside for environmental restoration. And a really big thing in this budget is to transition the building inspections back to the town from the Carteret County Carteret County offices. And we would propose that would, if it works out, that we would do that in January of 2027. So that was a big change. We have included in the budget a 3% COLA for our employees, and we've also set aside $1,000 annual increase for employees who are earning less than $60,000 a year. And then, as we just had that presentation for the salary study, we also have set aside $100,000 total that would cover any salary adjustments that we just talked about. There were other big ticket items that we previously discussed. We have 3 beach access walkways identified for replacement. We also have a grant application in place for a 4th beach access walkway to replace, and other projects such as finalizing the Reed Drive stormwater project. So those are some of the big ticket items that we've discussed previously, and happy to answer any questions tonight that you might have.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
How are we doing up here? Should we open it up for discussion? Of course we should. Who has a question? Who would like to ask? Who would like to begin?
Pretty black and white.
It is, I agree. Your team has done a tremendous job
Yes.
of putting this together. I have read the budget numerous times, just looking for where we can save any money. And every department has come forward with their budget. Everybody has scoured this thing. So I feel like you've put the best product forward.
I support the essential services, public safety, taking care of our employees, and I just want to be sure that we're separating needs from wants and protecting our taxpayers, and especially on the heels of a significant reevaluation, and that we're planning for, our long-term capital obligations. And, I saw a lot of opportunities for alternate revenues, because the half-cent tax increase, I'm not a fan of. I'll tell you right now, I've been fighting this thing tooth and nail to not raise taxes. It's at this point in the budget, at this time, here it is budget time, we need to approve it, and it's, I'm already looking toward next budget cycle, where I was talking with our manager and some other folks, and because I tell you what, a lot of people, they don't come to these meetings, they don't get on social media, but man, I see them out there in the stores, I see them out there at public events, I see them, they get my phone number, they talk to me, And I haven't met anyone who said they support raising the taxes. I've had plenty tell me they oppose it because once it goes on, it doesn't come off. And so I'm a support the budget this year on the contingency that we do find these additional revenue streams that necessarily won't bear on the back of our taxpayers for next year. And there are ways to do that. And sometimes it's not pretty, and it's not, but it's effective. And our taxpayers won't have to absorb subsidizing other industries around here. So I'll just say the tourism industry. And so there are ways to do this. I know we need that money. I'm a big fan of the fire and rescue EMS. We are a geographically challenged town. We have one main road through town, and having 3 locations for fire and rescue is essential. Because every second can save a life. If we save one life out of this, one life, the money is not even an issue. So I'm a fan of that, and I'm going to support that. But I do want the contingency that we do pursue these other areas of revenue that we talked about earlier this year.
I just think we need to be clear that this budget is our guide, and it's going to be our job for the rest of the year to bring ourselves in under budget, just like you said, Roy. The tax increase is funding the debt on the new fire station and then the moving part-time to full-time fire department people. And that's the public safety issue. That's what we heard from you. That's what you wanted. You wanted the other fire station. So that's why we have to raise taxes. To put it in perspective, if you have a $500,000 house, this tax increase is $50 a year. I think everyone needs to look at it that way. Nobody likes a tax increase. I live here too. I get it. I affected the same way that you are. But this is securing our footprint in our future and making public safety our priority. But like you said, Roy, we need to do better monitoring all our contracts, finding ways to save money. And that's what this board is committed to do for the next year, together.
Yeah, I would just echo that. I think this is probably the most consequential vote that we have every year to adopt this budget. And I don't like paying any more in taxes than I absolutely have to. But you guys do a great job, Laura and Frank and the rest of the town staff, the department heads did a great job this year, looking and trying to find that balancing act between what are the things that we absolutely need, what are the things that are really important to make this the great place that it is to live, and then what are the nice to haves. And I think a lot of, if not all of the nice to haves have been pushed out further down the road. But the reality is, as Chris pointed out, we're making investments in infrastructure for the future, and everything costs more. It costs more to run a town because of inflation and a bunch of other economic pressures that are beyond our control. So, like I said, I never like paying any more than I have to in taxes, but I feel like this is a very sensible, prudent budget. And we've already turned over all the rocks looking for where can we find a little bit of extra to cut here or there. And I think we found a very sensible medium in the budget that's before us. So thank you all for your hard work on it.
Okay, great. Shall we move forward with motions to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt the 26-27 budget ordinance.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May we next have a motion to adopt the fiscal year 26-27 fee schedule?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then we can also have a motion to adopt the updated 5-year capital replacement improvement program.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion set.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Laura and the rest of the staff for their hard work on the budget. One thing I just want to briefly introduce to you was mentioned briefly in the written comments. We've had a lot of conversations, both at your budget workshop and then at the planning workshop earlier this year, about future significant town buildings. We've talked about that Fire Station 3. We've talked about making some improvements at Fire Station 1. We've talked about maybe doing a new community center years down the road. we've talked about doing something additional for the police station. And so we did plug in a new police station in the 5th year of the capital plan that we need to spend a lot more time discussing and analyzing going forward. But based on your feedback at the budget workshop meeting, we included that in there as a placeholder. All that leads me to say that these are very, very significant projects and very, very significant buildings that will serve the town for the next 30, 40, 50 years if we go forward on that. I just want to kind of plant the seed with you and with the community right now that you may want to start thinking about some sort of general obligation bond referendum where the town would assemble a package of projects, and we have a lot of homework to do and a lot of analysis to do and a lot of discussion and a lot of public input to solicit. But basically start thinking about a package of projects that could be in the neighborhood of 20, 25, $30 million, and then put that forward to the voters at the appropriate time. And I don't think that would happen next year, but maybe in a couple years after we've gone through, I think, a robust public engagement process to figure out what people want. And then put the question to the voters. I mean, is this worth raising your taxes by X cents to fund these projects? We're very blessed. We've got relatively good facilities in the town right now, but some of them are starting to show some age, and the community's changing, the demands are changing. I don't think it'll be anything that's going to happen in my career here, but for the people in the future, we probably should start thinking about a new community center and a new police station and so forth. So I'll leave you with that thought just to get you thinking about that. I'd like to have some more conversations with you all about that in the community over the next year or so, and maybe start thinking about that. So, but thank you for your support on the
Frankie,
budget.
in your knowledge or experience here, has Emerald Isle ever floated a bond before?
We actually had a bond referendum in 2002, and that funded the very first beach nourishment project and the Bogue Inlet Channel relocation project. And that one was unique. It had to pass in 2 different districts in the town, and it passed and went forward. What I'm talking about here would just be a townwide vote, and it would have to have a majority vote. And to my knowledge, I think that's the only one the town's ever done in its history, so.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
staff,
everybody.
for your work on the budget. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, agenda item number 15.
Mayor Lagos,
Yes.
this has been it's been a lot to digest, this with the budget and several key items within that. I would like to make a motion that we table item number 15. I'd like to give that some more thought, and that's as far as adjustments to the rules of appointment and Rule 31.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
Do you want us to bring that back in July, or do you want to spend some more time sharing
So we're going to
thoughts?
be talking about the pay study in July. Can we, I mean, I don't see the urgency unless someone else up here does. I don't know why we couldn't look at this in possibly October.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. I'm happy to move forward whichever way you'd like.
If someone else can pick another month if you want, I don't care.
I guess it just depends what's on the agenda coming.
Right, it's just we've got a lot
Yes.
coming on our plate, and I want to be able to give it the required amount of time and thought that it deserves.
So I would just note, the one part that was changed last meeting
Correct.
still remains in effect, the rest.
That
of the part.
remains.
Perfect.
It's just the other considerations. And I thank you, Mark, and I'm sorry you didn't get to do your last hurrah on that one, but we can always invite you back.
No hurry.
Great. We'll plan on sometime this fall then.
That would be great.
Number 16, really just wanted to schedule some time for you all to talk more about the Emerald Isle free trolley. The proposal for your consideration would be to extend that free trolley service on weekends only, Friday nights, Friday evenings and Saturday evenings, basically for the remainder of the summer, with additional service for July 4th and Labor Day weekend, a third day during those weekends. There's a lot of data included in the packet about the trial that we offered on Memorial Day weekend. I would consider it to be successful. We had a total of 434 riders on the trolley during that 3-day weekend. Seems to be well received by the community. There's some interest expressed in extending that for the rest of the summer and a longer period trial to decide if this is something beneficial and helpful for the community, whether or not you all would like to do this in 2027 and beyond. It is a total cost of approximately $17,200 to continue it for the remainder of the 2026 summer season. We would propose to essentially mimic the service levels that we implemented over Memorial Day weekend. We would, however, add 3 more stops in central Emerald Isle, to hopefully better serve the neighborhoods between the Dollar General and the downtown area of Emerald Isle. We have some excess funding available in the current year budget. In Public Works, we had some expenses come in under budget. The budget amendment that's included for your consideration would move $17,200 into the non-departmental account to fund the trial for the remainder of this summer. So if that's something you would like to proceed with, we can make that happen as early as this coming Friday, using, again, Diamond Bus Company, the contractor who provided the service over Memorial Day weekend. The proposal is for the town to fund it with general tax revenues, really to learn more about whether or not this is a benefit to the Emerald Isle community. I know there's been some conversations about soliciting contributions from the business community or grant funding. Those efforts are still ongoing at this moment. I would submit to you that if we do decide to continue this in 2027 and beyond, we should absolutely spend the next year lining up those funding sources. In my estimation, the $17,000 expense is worth it to learn more and to see how it goes this summer. But ultimately, that's up to you all. So I'll leave it up to you to discuss and decide how you'd like to proceed.
I think the trolley was a great idea. I think that it was well received by the community. We're looking at another $17,200 expense to the taxpayers. I don't like that. What I would like to do is view this more as a cash advance for a trial and to put my money where my mouth is. I just gave Laura a check before this meeting started for my contribution because it's something I believe in, even though I probably won't use it. But I think it would be a benefit to the community. Those visitors who are coming here, I simply don't feel like it should be a taxpayer expense. And if 33 other people, including those businesses who probably profit from this far greater than I do, will jump in on that, then my thoughts would be that this is simply a cash advance that will be reimbursed within the next 8 months. 6 to 8 months, and at that point, that $17,200 could be rolled into the additional salary increases.
We can certainly take that approach, and I would submit to you that whatever contributions come about, and thank you, absolutely would defray that $17,000 cost.
But I'm dedicating the money that is saved, go back to the salaries.
I think that's a great plan.
I agree. That's a great plan. I think what we need to remember is that our visitors pay the bulk of our local sales tax and occupancy tax. So that means more money is spent at our businesses. So this trolley was designed to funnel people to our businesses. So they're stopping at the Bell Cove Village, K&B Plaza, Emerald Plantation. We need our visitors to support our businesses. That's what keeps the money going round. And when we increase our local tax revenue, then it keeps the property taxes down. So we've got to find another way to bring in revenue, and we can do that by increasing our local tax revenue by our visitors visiting our businesses.
Yeah, it can be a win-win situation.
Yes.
Yeah, I share that view, and I think that's a great idea, Alicia. I don't know how we guarantee the payback part of that, but we can figure that out. I don't think it's something that taxpayers should necessarily fund in perpetuity, but I think the town is uniquely positioned to fund this pilot to prove out whether this thing's going to work or not. And I think we should probably have some objective metrics that we can use and set in advance and say, here's what success looks like. Anything below this line, we're going to pull the plug and move on. $17,000, it is a lot of money, particularly if it can be sprinkled across folks and pay for their salaries. But in the grand scheme of things, in the $15.6 million budget, it's not a whole lot of money. So I think, aside from the direct benefit of somebody riding on the trolley, we also need to consider the indirect benefit of being able to find a parking space at that place that you went to. So there's a lot of goodness that can come from this. I think that it makes sense for us to put the seed money in to see if this thing is going to work and whether it's viable as a business investment. But I think we absolutely need third parties who are not Emerald Isle taxpayers to foot the bill.
Have we heard from any businesses that they're willing to sponsor?
I've had some phone calls, yes.
I don't know, Commissioner Plum, but I'll be happy to reach out to some of my contacts in the business community as well. And I think that we share equally in this because you're right, it does drive our sales tax revenue by putting these visitors in our businesses. But we need you businesses to step up too. And we know that you fund a lot of things within our community events, and we're very grateful for that. But there's a direct benefit for this one, and I believe that that's truly the first metric is if we're going to succeed, we need a buy-in from those who benefit the most. And honestly, we all benefit a lot simply because if it alleviates traffic congestion, if it frees up parking at a place who is lacking in that, God forbid it prevents an accident. Those are all positive things for everyone sitting in this room. It's one less call our EMS has to make, our police department has to make. But we need buy-in, and let's work this out together. This is not a significant amount, as Commissioner Wooten said, and I think that there's plenty to go around for all of us, and that we can find the support we need to make this happen this year, even though it is a test project, and have a planned way of moving forward in 27.
Great. Roy?
As long as we have some, like Commissioner Wheaton said, metrics in place to measure performance, and we have set goals, and we can demonstrate that there's a benefit to the residents, the taxpayers of this, whether it's parking or less traffic. But if we can measure that and demonstrate that, then yeah, I think it's a good investment at that point.
Okay, wonderful. I agree with all of you. I think it could be a great benefit to everyone involved, the businesses, the visitors, the residents. I'm looking forward to being in town. Last Memorial Day I was not, so I look forward to my kids and I hopping on. Okay, so shall we move forward with a motion to adopt the general fund budget amendments?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. I would like to add that, what I said, I would add to my motion that any savings that are reimbursed to the town be used specifically for targeting those salary inefficiencies.
We certainly can do that. I assume the others are in agreement with that approach, so absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 17.
17. As you all know, there are paid parking facilities in the town at Bougainville Pier and at a private lot on Reed Drive, near Islander Drive, as well as the town's eastern and western access facilities. One of those lots is at Bougainville Pier, and the owner of Bougainville Pier, Mike Stanley, recently contacted me about a concern that he had with people essentially skipping out without paying the required parking fee. And essentially, when the gate rose, they scooted out real close to the person in front of them. When this happened, the owner contacted the police department, and we learned that there is no applicable state statute or town ordinance in effect that enables us to take enforcement action for those kind of things. So the recommendation in your packet tonight is simply to adopt a local town ordinance that makes it, that prohibits that kind of activity at any paid parking facility, whether it's at a private facility, a public facility, whether it has a gate, whether it doesn't have a gate. The recommendation included in your packet is to specifically make that practice unlawful. It establishes a civil penalty of $50 if that penalty is paid within 14 days. If the person does not pay within 14 days, it increases to $100. Those penalties are comparable to what we have on the books already for some other parking violations and non-paid parking situations. They're also comparable to the amounts that Town Parking, our contractor at the Eastern and Western Access, has been charging for the past few years there as well. So what this does, number one, it makes that practice illegal and gives us an enforcement mechanism. Two, it formalizes those penalties for those kinds of violations. Mike Stanley, the owner of Bougainville Pier, is here tonight. One of the things that he has done in response to this has installed license plate readers at the exit to the facility. So that would be a great tool to help our police department identify the offender, issue the appropriate civil violation. I do want to stress that we view this primarily as a deterrent, right, to hopefully deter people from taking this kind of action in the future. They need to pay the fee to Mike Stanley, to the town, to whomever going forward. So it's something I think could be helpful for the town, again, primarily as a deterrent to this kind of behavior. So happy to answer any questions you may have about it.
Mike, how often do they jump the gate on you or push you, tailgate or do the draft, whatever, through the?
I'd say probably 6-8 times a week. It's more than it should be. Personally, I just think it's crazy that we don't, there should be a law for stealing anything from anybody. There's no law for stealing. This doesn't make any sense. But what really bothers me is it teaches their children that they can do things and get away with it too. To me, like I said, it's a deterrent. I want people to stop and behave themselves and appreciate the things that we do for them. And I know it's a sticky subject, but we're getting hammered, and we've got to knock it down to where the people that want to come to see us can come to see us, and that we don't want to get cheated out of that. But it's just not right. It's not right.
Would you put up a sign that says, ordinance?
Yes, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to put an ordinance, quote ordinance on each exit, so that they realize that, plus we have plate readers, and they're pretty accurate. Nighttime, especially at nighttime, the pictures come up black, but the license plate number pops up. It's really neat how it works. It's infrared, I guess.
It is.
It's like shoplifting a parking space, if you ask me. And same thing, you call the police department if someone's stealing from your store, you come in there to investigate that. So I just want to make sure that we're not putting too much additional workload on the police department for this. But I think with the signage up and your license plate reader, that the number of incidents will go down.
Well, we gave them that information, and they tried their best to call the people and say, okay, you come back and pay it like today or tomorrow. We won't push this issue, which many people did do that. We finally got to a point where we realized that the magistrate, I got a magistrate, I just come from shaking my head going, they can't do anything about it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's why we kind of figured it's an easy access thing, because I've got their number, they've got their phone number, the police have their access to the phone numbers, and they can contact them and say, okay, you've been caught, we know who you are, this is what you're going to have to do, and work that out from there. I think that would be great. Like I said, I'm not after the money, I'm after the deterrent. You get the word out, and I think that's what
And Frank, is there an appeal process in case, everyone says, well, it wasn't me, you got the wrong guy or something? Is there an appeal process?
Yeah, we'll certainly consider any appeals that someone brings forward, but I think if we've got the license plate reader and we've got the camera, it's going to be pretty conclusive,
yeah.
right?
we have about 8 cameras trained, so we got it all. It's hard to beat it.
Oh, that's great. There's always, do justice.
The biggest complaint with the LPRs is that the owner claiming someone else was driving their car. It's just like if I shoot you with his gun, it's still his fault.
It happens all the time with speeding tickets.
Yeah, those are all things that are obvious.
Will we be putting these, the same ordinance signs up at the public accesses as well to deter anything there, or?
There's already some signage there, and we certainly can add additional signage as well. I think it's helpful for Mike's situation with the gate system, but I think it is also helpful for our situation because we've got something formally on, if you adopt this, we'll have something formally on the books now too.
And how many paid, we got 3, 4 paid parking lots in town?
Currently, yes. Two public and 2 private.
And the other privates is Ronnie's parking lot down there, so we would offer him the same thing if he wants it.
It's listed in here as one of them.
Yeah, it would apply to that parking lot as well and any new ones that might be implemented in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's great to have consistency wherever there's
Yeah.
paid parking. It should be the same to the maximum extent that it can, so I think it's a great idea.
I agree. It's a deterrent, and we're not going to stand for it, so.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending Chapter 12 of the Code of Ordinances to prohibit unlawful use of paid parking facilities.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for saving me from that one, Jay. It's a long one. Okay, agenda item number 18. Lindsay, do you have any comments? No? Laura? No? Mark?
Real quick, I just thank y'all enough for the opportunity to have been in this role. I can't thank all the staff, employees, department heads that I've worked with. This has been an incredible experience for me. Never in a million years would I have thought, I'll spoil it, at 25, now 26, that I would have been in this role. And it's just been spectacular all the way through. And if that gives you some pause, I hope it doesn't, because we've done some great work here. And certainly it's just reinforced my love for local government and public service. And I can guarantee you, with my age being that young, I will be back in some capacity. So just can't thank y'all enough. I would just encourage y'all to keep supporting the staff and department heads because they're great. And it makes my job a whole lot easier when I'm just looking at fantastic work across the board. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Couple things real quick. Pleased to announce that we took delivery of one of the new fire engines this afternoon. The fire department still has to equip it.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. And it was
Good
actually
news
quicker
on
than
that.
promised.
We expect it will be in service probably within the next couple of weeks or so, and I'll certainly update you on that. We've got a total of 11 applications for the Youth Advisory Council so far, so that's a really good turnout so far, and the application deadline's open through the end of the month, so hopefully we'll have some more, have those appointments on your July agenda. The dune restoration at 3405 Ocean Drive, they're actually making very good progress, and we expect that they'll complete the topography adjustments and the plantings by the June 22nd deadline. So pleased to see that going forward. I think Laura might have alluded to it earlier. The Channel Drive walkway extension grant application, we made it through the first round with CAMA, so that's usually a good sign, not a guarantee, but certainly a good development, and hopefully we'll get a final decision on that in July and go forward. Lots of other things in the written materials. Happy to answer any questions about those or anything else on your mind.
Has the bear finally left?
We don't know, but we think so. No one else seems to have seen it recently.
Right. You did have a lot of your
We think he moved through Emerald Isle to Pine Knoll Shores to Atlantic Beach, but your guess is as good as mine.
He's in Harker's Island eating shrimp now.
Right? Any questions for Frank? Are we good to move on with our comments? I'll start with you, Alicia.
I just thank everyone for their hard work on the budget. I do appreciate it. Thank you to the taxpayers for bearing with us. We know that this is not, none of us like tax increases. It is necessary at this point for the infrastructure that we feel is necessary, and anything that includes public safety is absolutely a necessity for me, and I believe that the majority of this board shares that. We do try and reduce the expenses that we pass on to you. And I, again, beg each of you, help us offset this trolley, make it something unique about this community. Thank you to Commissioner Plum for bringing the idea forward and doing the legwork to make it happen. And I challenge everyone sitting up here, go out, find some friends, businesses, go find some supporters. Let's show this town that we mean what we say, and this is a cash advance. This is not a handout, it's a hand up. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Jay?
First, thank you, Mark. It's been great working with you, getting to know you. I know you'll be successful doing whatever you're doing. And, you know, we're not going anywhere, so when you get tired of that, come on back. Let's see. And thank you, as I said earlier, the budget process, you know, I joined a little bit late, but starting 3 or so weeks ago at the budget workshop that we had, there's a lot of lively and constructive conversation around the priorities and how to get from where we were to where we need to be. And I think it all came together masterfully. And that's in great part thanks to the staff that are able to interpret our input and turn it into a budget like this. It is. I don't like raising taxes any more than anybody else, but I see the necessity of it and the prudence of it. It's better than working for 12 months and then finding out, oh, we came up a little bit short. Let's eat into the general fund that's supposed to be around for a rainy day or one of the other funds. So I think it's a very sensible budget. And again, thank you. And thank you, Chris. You know, the trolley's a great example, and it might turn into a great thing. I know up and down the East Coast, there are beach town trolleys all over the place, and they're very successful. A lot of them are free. Some of them are paid. I think the free ones probably are the most successful, but it's not really free to anybody. So to Alicia's point, we definitely need to go out and beat the bushes and find a sustainable revenue source that can fund that important service, because I think it can become an institution within our town, but it's certainly not something that benefits everybody equally that would warrant taxpayer funding. So with that, I will.
My turn, okay. Of course, I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude to all town staff for your service to Emerald Isle. You know, it's going to be another busy summer season for all of us, and I just want you to know that my priorities stay the same from the day I took my oath of office here to today, and until I finish my term. That my motto was preserving what we love about Emerald Isle. I'm going to adhere to that. Preserving and conserving and maintaining our maritime forests, our coastal resources, being fiscally responsible. Ensuring our government remains transparent. I think that's very important too also. And I think we always got room for improvement on that. We need to be accountable to the people we serve. And then I encourage all the residents, property owners, business owners, stay in touch with me, communicate with me. I think most people find out that when you reach out to me, I do respond. I've been to several houses, I've been to several businesses. I go visit you, you come visit me, we can talk, we can have a coffee, lunch. You want to treat me to dinner? No, you can't treat me to dinner. But anyway, I enjoy hearing directly from you folks directly, and I appreciate the trust that you put in me as your commissioner. Thank you.
Chris?
I just want to thank the board for your support on the trolley. One of the things we always hear about is the traffic and the parking. And if we wait for NCDOT to do something, none of us will be here anymore. So thank you for the opportunity to test it. I am uncovering every stone to try to find a grant to pay for it. I've been in contact with everyone. We're going to get it done. That's my commitment. Mark, thank you as well. You've always had an open door policy. Anytime I've called, you've answered my questions, and I appreciate that. And just so you all know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with this board. We are constantly communicating with each other, talking. We're on the right path, and we're going to work hard to give you a good budget, come in under budget. We all have experiences in our professional life where we have to manage budgets. We know how to do this. So we're here to work for you. And as Roy said, come to us with your ideas. We're here to listen, and we will respond. We're not always right. I don't want to be right. So I want to do what's best for this town. So thank you.
Okay, so what a wonderful meeting tonight, I just have to say. The conversation was fantastic. All of the work that was put in was also fantastic. The compensation study is really eye-opening, and I love that we have something concrete to look at while we move forward with that conversation next month. The next couple weeks, and it's going to be really busy around here, so if anyone missed my Emerald Isle Living little blurb I sent about being patient, please be patient with our visitors and with your fellow residents, because traffic will be bad. Hopefully the ferry can, or the trolley can help a little bit, but let's just be patient and enjoy these new festivities that Emerald Isle will be having. And the fireworks, thank you for partnering with us with that, Mr. Stanley. So we're all really excited and looking forward to July 4th here and the next couple weeks. Welcome back, Jay. I forgot we had so much going on tonight, we didn't get to lead with that, so welcome back. That's all I have. Thank you all for being here. It was an awesome meeting, and I look forward to July.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, wait, we have to have a motion for a closed session.
That's right.
Motion to go into closed session then.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Yeah, 5-minute break.
I think we all need it.
It is so intuitive.
And now Mark, anytime, hey, you ready for some surf lessons?